Good morning, Secretary. Good morning, David.
Let me unmute myself. So far, so good.
Yay!
Tammy, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Come on,
Good morning.
some light in this room.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and start. If everybody is ready, we're going to go ahead and start allowing your attendees to come into the session.
Okay, and Sydney, you'll give us a clue when you're ready for us to start, right?
Yes, I will. We're going to go ahead and start the video and let that run while people come into the session.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
Ooh, we're rocking and rolling. We're in our
So,
practice
yes,
session.
we'll know that the governor is on because we'll see him pop into the Zoom. Okay.
Hey folks, we're wrapping up our 8:30 call. I'll be on in just a few.
No problem.
Good morning, Ken.
We have two intros and then the star of the moment.
Our attendees are now joining your session.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the kickoff and our main opening session for the Black Business Forum. I am Tammy Hall, and I have the pleasure of serving as the director for the Office of Historically Underutilized Businesses. Good morning. You are in for a treat. We have opened this morning with a lecture and information that was very important to all of us. It was so much to understand, but I think we have a clear vision now moving forward of what this forum will entail. So I am going to go right into our morning session. We have some really important folks I want you to hear from. So without further ado, I am going to turn it over now to our Deputy Secretary of Advocacy for the Department of Administration. Welcome, David Elliott.
Thank you, Tammy, and welcome to everyone. Thank you for being here this morning for this awesome forum about Black business and how to support, nurture, and sustain those businesses. I want to thank Tammy for her leadership in bringing this together, along with our partners who've worked tirelessly in the background to bring this to us. And as we're speaking live now, there are countless people in the background working. And so I want to thank those folks. I spent 24 years in the Attorney General's office before coming to the Department of Administration. And one thing that I saw there was in the Consumer Protection Division, how many businesses prey on people of color and prey on businesses. So one of the things I just want to remind folks is as we support Black businesses, we need to make sure we put the infrastructure in place, because if we have 600 people on this call today learning how to support Black businesses, there are probably 60,000 people worldwide learning how to hack into businesses, how to steal information, how to steal credit reports. So one of the things I look forward to working with Tammy on is adding additional features to our hub office to make sure we, in addition to getting resources to Black businesses, we put things in place to help protect them and educate them about the technology and the scams that are targeting them. My task this morning was to introduce my boss. I've only been in the Department of Administration 45 days, but I have the honor of serving with Secretary Pamela Brewington Cashwell. She is historic in a lot of ways. She's the first Indigenous person to serve as a secretary in the Department of North Carolina. She's a member of the Lumbee and Coharie tribes. She is extremely smart. She's an attorney. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's just a great leader at the Department of Administration. But the one thing I will leave you with is, and her bio is in the Hoover platform, so you can read all of her accolades there. But one thing I do want you to know is when I first interviewed with her, and one of the reasons why I left the Attorney General's office after 24 years is she led with that she's a woman of faith, and that she really views her job as a calling to serve people. And I think part of this forum and what we do at the Department of Administration is with that in mind, that people are sacred, that and that's not just a theoretical thing. We really want to empower people, give them the resources to fulfill their potential. So with that, I will present to you, introduce to others, the Secretary of the Department of Administration, Pamela Brewington Cashwell.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, David, and thank you, Tammy, so much. I'm blessed to have David and Tammy on my leadership team here at DOA, and really appreciate so much the work that they do every day to support our mission here at the Department of Administration. I also want to give a shout out of thanks to the other members of our hub team led by Director Hall, who have worked so hard with Partners in Equity as well as the governor's staff to pull this great event together. I'm excited to be with you all today. The only better thing I can think of is being with you all in person. And I'm also honored to introduce my boss and our awesome governor to kick off the morning. As North Carolina's 75th governor, Roy Cooper has really remained committed to ensuring that our state looks like the people it represents. And as mentioned earlier, I am the first American Indian woman to head a state cabinet department in the state's history. And I'm proud to not only work for a governor who supports diversity, but really puts his money where his mouth is. And consequently, I get the pleasure of being a part of the most diverse cabinet in North Carolina history. Governor Cooper started his administration with a mission to have a North Carolina where people are better educated, healthier, where they have more money in their pockets and have the opportunity to live a more abundant and purposeful life. And what has truly set Governor Cooper apart is the fact that he intends for that mission to impact all North Carolinians and for no one to be left behind. And to accomplish that task, he reminds us as his cabinet members, as well as his staff regularly, that you have to be intentional to do that, and that we all have a responsibility to be intentional if we are to truly serve all North Carolinians. No one could have imagined the challenges that Governor Cooper would have faced, that we all faced, frankly, in the last 4.5 years. An unheard of number of devastating natural disasters, of course, racial and social injustice that permeated across our country, and obviously an unprecedented pandemic. And as we know, those disasters really impacted communities of color in North Carolina the hardest. In responding to those various events and recovering from those challenges, the governor has continually worked to make North Carolina stronger, more resilient, and ready for the next challenge. In the areas of minority and small businesses, I wanted to bring up a few particular accomplishments that have occurred during the last 4.5 years. We have more than doubled the number of HUB certified vendors in these last 4 years to over 5,000. And to her credit, Director Hall has really worked hard to do that, and she set a new challenge for her staff to increase that number to over 10,000 vendors. And so we're going to work very hard at DOA to do that. We've also seen the highest levels of spending within HUB businesses over the last decade, 34% increase in the diverse spend in construction, $35 million increase in diverse spending in goods and services. Governor Cooper issued Executive Order 25, creating the Governor's Advisory Council for Historically Underutilized Businesses. And he provided funding for the first statewide disparity study in over a decade. That disparity study looked back at the years 2014 through 2018, those fiscal years, and told us that we've got some work to do in order to truly provide opportunities to HUB businesses in North Carolina. To help North Carolina's diverse populations during the pandemic, Governor Cooper issued Executive Order 143. Among other things, that executive order established the Andrea Harris Social, Economic, Environmental, and Health Equity Task Force. And since its establishment, which I now have the pleasure of chairing, the task force has been working diligently to address ways to create economic stability, eliminate health disparities, and achieve environmental justice in North Carolina. Executive Order 143 also resulted in the first ever state-funded grant program for historically underutilized businesses. The program is known as Retool NC, and over 688 HUB firms received more than $13.3 million in capital support during the pandemic. The program was administered with our HUB office partnering with the Carolina Small Business Development Fund and the North Carolina Institute for Minority Economic Development, known as the Institute. We're very proud of that program and are looking forward to the next phase of it with new funding that Governor Cooper has set aside. And finally, Governor Cooper created the first state government small business enterprise program. It's located within our HUB office and is specifically designed to assist small businesses across North Carolina. And so as we emerge from this pandemic, Governor Cooper's vision is to ensure a shared recovery for all North Carolinians. He seeks to build an economy that leaves no one behind and is keeping all of us as his cabinet members accountable for doing that. And so please join me in welcoming our 75th governor, the Honorable Roy Cooper.
Well, thank you, Secretary Cashwell, and grateful for your willingness to step up and to serve as North Carolina's Secretary of Administration. Grateful to be here with my amazing Chief of Staff, Christy Jones, with Tammy Hall, who's heading up our HUB efforts, David Elliott, who is Deputy Secretary over at the Department of Administration with Secretary Cashwell, and my friend Napoleon Wallace, with whom I worked the first few years as governor over in Commerce. Grateful to have all of you here today. And this Black Business Forum, I hope, will be good for the people who have joined. I know it will be good for our state. When I look at all of the jobs that can be created from people who are on this part and a part of this forum today, when I think about the importance of your work in communities across North Carolina and providing jobs for those communities, when I think about how you can help provide leadership to pull this state out of this pandemic and to recover stronger than ever, it excites me. But I'm also acutely aware of the many barriers and systemic obstacles that many of you face. And I want you to know my deep commitment to a shared recovery in North Carolina, and want you to know how important you are to me, to my administration, and to the state as a whole. I think one thing has become abundantly clear over the years, certainly to me, but it's becoming clear to private enterprise. Diversity and inclusiveness makes you better. Diversity and inclusiveness increases the profit margin and increases the bottom line. It makes you better when you get viewpoints from all kinds of people. Your decisions are more thorough and they are more effective. And it was one of the reasons why I put together by far the most diverse cabinet and administration in the history of the state. And I've told my good friend, Governor Jim Hunt, many times that he's the best governor this state's ever had, but I got the best team this state has ever had. They are working hard. And let me tell you, it was easy to assemble this fantastic, diverse cabinet. For one reason, so many people of color had been shut out over the years, and particularly the last 4 years preceding my administration. A lot of pent-up talent and people who were ready to go. And we have put people in place that I believe care deeply about my mission for our state, which is to create a North Carolina where people are better educated, where we're healthier, where we have more money in our pockets, and we create opportunities, equitable opportunities for people to live lives of purpose and abundance. And I'm grateful for that. This pandemic has hit so many businesses and families so hard. First, you think about the people who have gotten sick and who have died. We think about the jobs that have been lost. We think about the depression. We think about the people who have had to get out of the workforce in order to look after children, parents, and grandparents. And I want you to know that I am committed to making sure that we come out of this stronger than ever. One of the things that the pandemic did was shining a bright light on things that we already knew, but have become more apparent. This pandemic hit harder marginalized communities and marginalized families. This pandemic hit harder people of color. This pandemic hit hardest businesses of color. And one of the first things that we did as we went into this process, it caused a few weeks of angst, but it was the right thing to do. We made sure we built our own database to tell us where our vaccines were going. And we can take it down to the census block, to the zip code block, and find out how we are doing on the equitable distribution of vaccines. We've been looking at these numbers. We don't yet have those numbers up to the equal to the percentage of population of Black and brown people throughout North Carolina, but we are pushing those numbers up every single day because we are able to see it. You can't tackle a problem unless you can see it. And the data allows us to see it. And you can go on our COVID dashboard and look at the progress that we're making. I am so grateful. I thank God for these life-saving, stunningly effective vaccines that we now have in place. One good thing, we've gotten about 82% of people 65 and older who have gotten a vaccine. We know that has been our most vulnerable population. About 55% of adults in North Carolina have gotten at least their first shot, but there's still close to 2.5 million adults who have not gotten a vaccine. We know this Delta variant is sweeping across the country, mostly through unvaccinated people. And The best way right now that we're going to get this done is one call, one conversation, one household, one person, one shot at a time. And people who they trust, telling someone that they need to get this vaccine, talking with them about their concerns is critical. And each one of you could play a real difference with your family, with your friends, with your employees. We need to get as many people vaccinated as we possibly can in order to save lives. We've had to make some tough calls in this pandemic. And I know that many of your businesses have been hurting because this virus has wreaked so much havoc out there. But when you look at our performance at the end of the day, how we did in North Carolina, I'm proud to say that among large states, our state is among the lowest in deaths and job loss per capita. So we have made good decisions, and we have worked to use our database to make sure that we're being as equitable as possible. When we look at Black and brown businesses across North Carolina, we see too many doors being shut. And it's one of the reasons why we began I signed my executive order, our historically underutilized businesses offices, and the retool program. We know how critical it is to be able to get access to capital. We also know how critical it is to be able to understand how the contracting process works and to have doors that are open to businesses of color. We had this disparity study that we made sure that we put in place, and the results that have come back are not acceptable. We have to do so much better, not only because there are businesses out there who for a sense of fairness need a better chance, but hey, taxpayers are going to benefit by having more businesses that are involved in contracting with state government. So with this retool, we put money out to help people. I've heard from a number of minority-owned businesses who have been grateful for the funding. I know it's really been frustrating on PPP loans that a lot of businesses that are on this call have been shut out, and it is why we have proposed a significant increase in our retool funding. We asked for $50 million. The Senate budget that just came out has 20 million. That's not enough, but at least there was a recognition there that this program is important and it is needed. We also know that there is significant flexible money that's in the American Rescue Plan funding, and hundreds of communities across the state are going to get some direct funding. So we're going to work with those communities, try to combine local and state dollars to create amazing opportunities to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place to help turn the corner on this pandemic. Now, I think over the last year, as we faced this pandemic, many of us have looked in the mirror. I witnessed the excruciating death of George Floyd. I talked to families that were hit so hard by this pandemic, and many of them, Black and brown people who are living on the margins, Black and brown people who are working hard, trying to make it, but facing so many barriers. And as I looked in the mirror, I said, we've got to change. We've got to do better. We have to be intentional about what we are doing so that our recovery is a shared recovery and that prosperity is available for everyone. It's one of the reasons why we've been working through our hub office and our retool program. But another effort was the Andrea Harris task force that we put in place to look closely at the systemic racism and barriers that exist in our economic system, in our healthcare system, in our education, in our environment. Probably a lot of you on this call knew about Andrea Harris and knew her. I knew her for years. I considered her a friend and an advisor. And when Andrea Harris would talk to me about trying to help minority communities have a place at the table, she said, you know, the color is green here. Economic prosperity can bring us toward equality. And we need to make sure that businesses, minority-owned businesses out there have the chance, have the capital, have the opportunities to succeed and thrive, not only helping those businesses, their employees, and their communities, but helping our entire state. And this forum today, I think, will provide some good information. I called together last week my cabinet secretaries, the procurement agencies, the heads of procurement of these governmental entities, and the governor's staff and others, and talked with them earnestly about the need to look at what we have in place, and are our systems working? Are there things we can do that we have to change? Number one, we know they aren't working like they should be, and we have to change. And those of you can talk to the people who sat around that table. We looked each other in the eye and said, we are going to make a difference. We are going to monitor and raise expectations for all of our cabinet agencies about involving our minority contractors throughout this state, making things better for everyone, including North Carolina taxpayers. We need your help by telling us what issues you face, what concerns you have, what barriers you're trying to get over. And I know that the people on this call who are working with me in state government, we want to help every way we can. Thank you for joining us today. I look forward to making sure that we can create a North Carolina that works for everyone. And Tammy, I see you jumping on here and want to thank you and your leadership, and look forward to the report back from this forum today. I know we've got hundreds of people on it. Very exciting to have North Carolina leaders from across the state, business leaders across the state who are on this and who really want to make a difference. So thanks a lot.
Governor Cooper, thank you so very much for your leadership. The Hub community thanks you. All of the citizens of North Carolina, we are all so much better because you are our commander-in-chief. So thank you for all that you are doing and to support us in general. And thank you for it. We know you're busy. We know that. And we do thank you for your time. Secretary Cashwell, Deputy Secretary David Elliott, we thank all of you. Governor Cooper, final parting words?
Well, have a great forum today. I hope it is an exchange. I hope that we learn in state government, learn as much as you in the business community learn from this. I hope it's a great exchange, and that there are seeds of success that are sown today. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Okay.
you. To all of our attendees, thank you again for being here with us this morning. I invite you now to join us for our next session. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.